find it. Am I live?
Yes.
I am?
Yes.
Woohoo! We're started.
Yes.
So when I start reading the when I start reading the last thing, will you turn that off? I want it on until the very last thing. Okay, hey everybody. Oh, my friends are here. Hey. Let's see who all's coming in. I see some people joining. I can't tell who it is. So when you arrive, will you comment so I can say hello, so I can say hi back to you? I'm happy to say, oh, Janice is here. Hey, Janice, how are you today? I'm so glad you're here. And Susan's here. Woohoo! I thought about you today, Susan. I was using batting, and I thought about you. And Pat's here. Hey, Pat. So glad you're here. Everybody's gathering up. Tonight we're going to have fun. I'm going to do a tutorial on this quilt right here. It is called Space Race because I've tried I do best when I can rhyme things, like if I'm trying to remember what I called it. And the only thing that I could find for space was race. So I said, okay, I'm calling it Space Race. If y'all can think of a better, hey Kathy, I'm so glad you're here. If y'all can think of a better name for this quilt, I am open to it. Right now I'm calling it Space Race, and we're going to talk about it tonight. We're also going to, I'll do a quick tutorial on this. In fact, I'm going to tell you how to make the quilt, if that's something you want to do. We're going to talk about the magazine that just came out. We're going to, I have a, y'all, I'm not a, fashionista, obviously, right? I mean, it's just not my thing. I tried it in home ec when I was a kid. I was 8th grade. And our school color was this color, Kelly Green. And I made a wraparound skirt. And I was a little thing, but I'm not made for a wraparound skirt. And I made it in this Kelly Green to match our school colors. Why would anybody let me do that? And anyway, it literally turned me off of garment making for the rest of my life. Literally. That's pretty bad. It was that bad. So I just gave up on it. And I just haven't ever got, I mean, I like clothes, but I'm not going to make them. So, but I had this idea, and I'll tell you all about that. I made a vest, or I'll show you. Anyway, I used my tool and a vest. So, anyway, we've got Kathy and Catherine. Oh, so glad y'all are here. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm wondering what I'm stepping on. I'm stepping on cables. So, here's what we're going to do. We'll talk about this first. This is called Space Race. I'll step out of the way. It is a, I've already forgotten the dimensions. I guess I should look. I guess it's about, I think it's close to 70 by 70 is what it is. And so what I did here was I just used the large orange peel tool. It's got 6 rows and the center, it's got the 2 windows. And then all I did right here was do you see this black hole? So right here I put snowballs on those 4 blocks right there where they meet. And does it kind of have a 3D effect, sort of in and out? What I wanted it to do was, this fabric reminded me of like being in a spaceship going through, outer space. So I kind of wanted to do that. One of the things I think about when I'm making quilts, my quilts, the reason I do it this way is because I got, I'm going to have a booth at Festival in Houston in November. And so I have to design a booth, and I have to think about what I'm going to have in the booth. and what I want to hang. And one of the things that I think a lot of people are looking for and have a harder time finding are quilts that are more masculine. So when I saw this fabric, or had this fabric, I had purchased it quite a while ago for a different project I never did because my tools came up. But it's kind of got that, it's more masculine, probably because of the colors, and it does have that sort of space effect. The thing about it, it was so fast and so easy. It would have been faster if I'd worked on it. It's always the project, right? It's always that, hey, Beth, we're so glad you're here too. So what I did was you notice I put the focal point right here, and then everything else radiates out from it in concentric circles. And so I kind of wanted it to be, just kind of, does it look sort of spacey? Y'all tell me. Does it look like kind of masculine and like a space thing? UFOs or something? So that's what I was going for. So I'm going to show you a demo of how to make a block. To make this quilt, you need 36 10-inch squares. That's what you start with. Now, if your background, if you were going to do some sort of background like this, I did with the fabric, and off the top of my head, I don't remember what the yardage was, but I can get 4 10-inch blocks out of a width of fabric, and you need 36 of those, so it's several yards. I'll have to do the math and get those notes for you. So I used all of I'm making the back, and I don't even have enough of the fabric to put a bunch of it on the back because I used so much of it on the front. But I'm going to show you how to do it. It's the same block 36 times. The only difference are these colors, right? So I used the purple and the blue and the red and the green. This is using the orange peel Picture Windows tool. One of the things, I don't know if I've told y'all of that or not, this has a sticky film on the back, so it doesn't, once you have it down on your fabric, it doesn't slide. It's really cool. You take a friction pin, you can use a pencil, you can use anything you want. I'm doing this so it's very heavy and very dark so you can see it. Hopefully you'll be able to see that. Then I'm taking my small rotary blade. That's how I clean it. I rub it on my hip. Okay, so I'm using and I'm cutting 1/4 of an inch on the inside of the edge. Perfect. Y'all, I'm not always that good. Okay, so I'm going to save this, but now I have this opening in the fabric. The reason I have an opening in the fabric is because all of my tools are the reverse applique. Okay? So what I do is I always snip to the corners, and then I snip all to the line. The closer I get, like maybe over 1/2 inch, less than an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch, I find that if I start at the opposite corner and work toward me, I can see what I'm doing much better. So you just snip. Y'all, this is not hard. This is a really good project for sitting in front of the television when so it used to be 8 or 9 o'clock before I'd get tired and go and watch TV. Now, it's more like 6:30. Okay, I did this to protect the mat. I'm using this glue. If you've got a favorite glue, you go for it. You just use whatever glue you want. This is to get me to the sewing machine only, but it's going to get me there. And you see what I did? I'm rolling this back at the point, and I'm going to roll back, and roll back, and roll back, and roll back, and roll back. Whoops. I'm going to flip this around. And I'm going to come down the other side with the glue again. Roll back. I'm going to do the same exact thing. Now, I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. When you're using glue in any of your projects, please melt it. And the way you melt it is just with your iron. Once it cools, it's no longer gummy and sticky. Okay, so now I'm going to hit it with my warm iron. And it's really more pressing than it is ironing. You'll know that, right? I say ironing. It's only because I'm using an iron. Let me lay this down. There. So now see, I have this perfect little window. Now I need to fill that window. I grabbed a piece of white fabric. I should put the right side up. And there's my window. What I would do now is I would go to the sewing machine and I would I would do all 36, but I would stitch right here. See that? I would stitch all the way that close, just real close to the edge. Top stitch that down. Now, the next step is I need to cut the inner window out of here. So I take this part that fits right in here. I take this part, I line it, center it, you know, make it, put it where it fits. And then I mark this piece and cut this hole out and repeat the process. So that's how simple it is, y'all. I mean, seriously. But I do, when I'm doing 36 of them, I do all of the outside and then stitch it down before I do this part. I have just found that it's easier. And you see what I'm doing? I'm just repeating the process on the smaller, using the smaller tool. That's how quick it is. I can sit and do this while I'm, you know, watching TV, while I'm listening to something. Now, I am going to work from the back to glue it. I can see the line through, so it's just like putting on lipstick. Doesn't that look just like lipstick? I have always thought that looked just like lipstick. And one time I guess I was at market or at a show, and my lips were dry, and I reached up to put that on my lips. I was like, oh no. It was terrible. Okay, so I'm just folding it back. And you see when I fold it, the line that shows up, that's the line that I drew when I was marking the... Now here's the fun part. This piece that we took out originally goes right there. I'm just going to glue it down. And I'm going to glue along here. This whole thing's going to be glued together so that when I get to the sewing machine, because I've already melted it and all, it'll be ready for me to stitch. Okay, so I just warped it. Did y'all see that? So what I'm going to do is, before I glue that down, I'm just going to pull this nice and square again, right? Whoops. Sometimes the glue will stick to your fingers and then you'll get it all messed up. All right, here we go. There it is. That didn't work. Sorry, y'all, I dropped it. This would be a sweet little girl's quilt. So once I iron it, then it all sticks together. Same exact block as you see behind me. Just using different colors. Now look at this. Isn't that sweet? So I think a little, and then you see all this extra. Once I stitch everything down, I can trim that extra off. This is the exact same block as this. Isn't that easy? Okay, so that's how you make this window within a window is what it is. Only on 4 of the blocks on one corner. When I say snowball, do y'all know what that means? Honey, will you have me? Thank you. To snowball a corner, you take in this situation, on this large one, I used a 5-inch, maybe. I could have used a 4, I don't remember. I'd have to measure. But I stitch from this corner to this corner in a straight line. And normally I draw that line, like from here to here, corner to corner. Draw that, stitch along it. Once it's stitched, you flip that over and you have a snowball. That's what happened here. That's how quick and simple that is. It's just that super fast to put a little snowball on. Yeah, if you want to go into a lot of math and stuff, you can actually cut triangles. I say cut a square, stitch across it, flip it back, and call it done, right? Okay, so that's how you would snowball it. I only snowballed 4 of those blocks. Then I cut a 2-inch border, and it came out to 1.5 inch finished. And then I cut a 5-inch border, and it came out to 4 3/4 because there isn't a seam on the other side. Now I want to show you what I did. This is, when I was writing the pattern, I should tell you this. I had, of the purple, I had 12 purples, because this group right here, I did 12 purples. On the greens, I did 9, because here are 8, and then I have one right down here in the corner, far corner. I had 10 of the blues. Y'all have pins behind my quilt top. I had 10 of the blues, and I had 5 of the reds. I found a thread. Okay, so I had 5 of that makes 36. So I'll say it again. 9 green, 12 purple, 10 blue, and 5 reds. And then, like I said, I cut a 2-inch border. It ended up at 1.5. I cut a 5-inch border. It ended up in 5 3/4. Now, using those similar colors, I did some other layouts when I was designing this, and then I went back today and looked at what I had done. I want to show you some other layouts using 4 colors, but using the same number, like 9, I guess it would be 9 of each, like 9 red, 9 green, all that. You can do that same quilt, but it would look like this. Here's another layout, is what I'm telling you. So that's 1. That's kind of fun. Then I have 2 on one page I wanted to show you. This, can you see it? Okay. This one is similar, except look at the layout. I've got more reds and it's just a different layout. And then this is where I have them in quadrants. That's kind of interesting to me. There's something about that that's really, really interesting. Especially if I'm making it for a guy, you know, kind of in the dark colors. So I wanted to show you, there are thousands, literally thousands of layouts that you can do in this with orange peel. And the thing about orange peel is most often it is thought of as a female or kind of feminine sort of quilt. So I wanted to show you some alternatives there. Okay, next I'm going to show y'all what came out this week. Look, have y'all seen this? Somebody has. Beth has. Yeah, outer space, UFO. That's exact. Spacey and masculine. That's a good one. So Janet is my sister. Hey sis, I could make a sunglasses quilt with that pattern. Oh, now that's cute. I kind of have one. I just didn't print it. That's fun. So it is, Kathy, it is very fun to play with all the layouts because you can do circles, you can do the sort of the butterfly look, etc. Okay, so here's the quilt that came out this week. It is called Quilt Sampler. It is Better Homes and Gardens. And there is a shop that a friend of mine has, Lisa Furley, and the quilt shop is in LaSalle, where were we? Illinois. And when we were there, she had 2 stores. Now she has 6. I mean, she's just been really, really busy opening shops. Here's the spread. Her it's a brand. She outgrew her old store, moved down the street, and remodeled it, and it's just beautiful. And I'm showing you all the pictures that are in here. So lots of color in her. Lots and lots of color in her shop. Lots of color in her shop. It's so much fun. Now I want to show you this. Do you see this quilt hanging right there? That's the Picture Window Dresden quilt. They made using my tool. And it's black and white and colorful. She had seen one. They had seen one like it I had taken. And then on page 112, here's another spread. And this quilt I designed for her. And I have a pattern. It's all on my website and stuff. But it's the Dresdens. You see the Dresdens? The Picture Window Dresdens are hanging in there. So I have a couple of my quilts hanging in there. Of course, I'm so excited for her. So if you're not familiar with this magazine, what they do is they look at shops in a particular region and highlight them. So I'll tell you, these shops, look, this is their map, and so they rotate across the country. There is Boxcar Quilts, which is in Crossroads, Texas. I have never been to that shop. I would love to. And then they've got a whole bunch up in the Midwest, North and Midwest. So it is back there on page 100, and all the shops are in the back. Lisa also designed a quilt out of that same fabric that I had used, and she called it Seams That Bind. So, anyway, there you go. I was very excited to get that. So, very fun. And then, let's see, what else do we have on the agenda tonight? Let me look at my agenda. Do we have an agenda? Do y'all have any questions? There it is. There's my agenda. Okay. All right. So if you want this quilt, I've given you all the dimensions and the way to do it. Hey, if anybody ever needs a tool or whatever, you can go to my website, www.anniemchugs.com. Also, Quilt Festival. I really want to talk that up. It's in Houston like it is every year. It is the end of October, and they're opening at White Oak. Texas is open, so by October we should be good. I mean, everybody should be fine. So we'll have a booth there. They'll have thousands of quilts on display, so I'm hoping that some of y'all will think about going. And then to wrap it up, I guess I've got, one more thing. I know what it is. Okay, I'm with you now. I remember. I'm going to move all this stuff because I have to put something in this corner. Okay, so I decided that this tool, are you leaving me? Are you leaving me?
Oh, no.
Okay, where's my small part? Do you see it? Oh, here it is. I'm sorry. Okay. There are 3 pieces to the tool. The block, the window, and the inner window. I decided that it would be fun to try to do, I love vests. And so I bought literally on, I guess, eBay maybe, for like, I don't know, $14 or something super inexpensive, a jean jacket. But I didn't want a jean jacket. That's way too heavy for me. I mean, I don't need winter clothes, right? I wanted a vest, and so I'm going to show you what I made. All right. So can you see it? Okay, good. So on this little vest, I cut. I can't find my stuff. I can't see anything now. This is going to have to go over here. Okay. So this shape, I cut out and made a hole. And then this last week, my friend Kathy, I wonder if she's on tonight. Kathy Easley, a couple weeks ago or a week before, like, I don't know when, recently called and said, or wrote and said, someone asked me if I knew anybody that could use some wedding lace they didn't need anymore. And it was, I had looked all through everything I owned and could not find what I wanted to put in these windows. You see that? This is this shape, that size. So what I did is just like I showed you on the block, is I cut a hole and folded the edges back. And I said, yes, I want the lace. And she brought it, and it was exactly what I wanted. And it was just like the Lord provided it for me. I couldn't find anything. And then it showed up. So that's the front. Kind of plain, but not too bad. But watch what I did to the back. Now, I will tell you that in the Dresden, the picture window, the little birdhouse shape, 5 sides, has a circle. So I use that circle and this tool right here, this little orange peel, and this is what I did. I want y'all to tell me if you like it. I feel like I'm playing with a mummy. You see it? Okay, so I want to see what everybody's saying. Kathy likes it. So look, y'all. See this little, here's the circle. Do I have it straight so they can see it? Okay. So here's the circle that came out of the Dresden tool thing. And then I just started cutting, you know, these little things all over it. And did the same exact thing I just showed you in that block. I folded it back. I glued it back. Ironed it. Put the lace in. Cut the lace bigger, you know, than the hole. Stitched it down. Went to the next one. And I just kept cutting out until I decided that it was, and I think I'm done, but I haven't decided, you know, I think I am, but if you have any suggestions, what?
Go ahead. I was going to say, use your white piece of paper and show that it's...
Oh, Doug's wanting me to show you this. So if I decided that I have a gray t-shirt on this mannequin underneath this vest. Can you see it? Mm-hmm. Does that change it? So you'll see whatever whatever clothing you put behind it. So if I wear white, it'll really show up white. If I wear dark, it'll show up dark. So it's going to show whatever's behind it. I kind of think that's kind of fun. And all I did, y'all, is I just raw edge. Cut the edge off that. Do you like it? Beth does. Yay. Thank you. I think it's going to be kind of fun when I... Y'all make me feel good because I screwed up so bad in junior high. Y'all, I made the skirt and I got an A in the class. But it was so ugly I would never trust myself again. So anyway, isn't this awesome that Kathy found that, or was given that lace, and I just put it right in there. See, I just put it right in there. So, lace is stronger than we think. This is a net, you know, and I just stitched it down. I mean, it's not like I'm going to be putting my hands through it. So I have to tell y'all something. I have a table in my studio, it's my cutting table, but I also have benches that go beside it so that when I have company or whatever, we can sit and visit and talk and do whatever, play or cut or whatever we're doing. And this little half mannequin dress form thing has been sitting over there because I've been putting this jacket on her at night and then looking at it. You know how you do, is that enough? Or maybe it's not enough or whatever. And anyway, Doug told me this morning he's almost shot her 3 times thinking she was a burglar. And she's not. Poor thing. Anyway, so I'll show you the front one more time. So I kind of did simple on the front. I have a girlfriend who, her daughter was getting married, and she had a Pinterest page, and it was called, It's All About the Back. And her philosophy about wedding dresses was the front, when you're in the audience, nobody sees the front. Now, in the reception and stuff, people do. But most of the time, you see a bride from the back. So the back has to be absolutely gorgeous, as does the front, but so does the back. You can't forget the back. So I thought about that a lot while I was putting this little thing together. I'm so glad y'all like it. Okay, I'll take her now and move her. Okay, baby, if you'll do the Zoom thing, just pull me out of it in the Zoom.
It ended itself.
Okay, it's over then. Good. All right. Well, that was fun. Okay. I am going to do my end of meeting little devotional thing now. If this is the time of day where you need to leave, that's fine. But I'm going to read one that I wrote a year ago. I'm finding it to be very interesting what I wrote a year ago. For a couple of reasons. One, I don't really remember what I wrote because I don't remember day to day what I write. I have to go back in the evenings and read it because I'm sort of in a scribe mode when I write it. But anyway, I wrote this a year ago, and today it just felt like the right thing to read, y'all. Okay, it's called Sheepdogs, and it's from my journal. And I wrote, in January of 2020, I attended a funeral. On the drive to the funeral, there were 25 cars in single file behind the hearse. A car pulled out of a side parking lot as we were going by and began to pass the whole procession in the left lane. So here we are in the right lane, 25 cars, cops out front with flashing lights, the whole thing. And this car in this convenience store pulls through and breaks the line and then goes in the center lane and starts passing people. So I was watching, I was just observing, of course. A pickup truck in the procession ahead of me pulled out and straddled the 2 lanes, drove along the center stripe and would not let that car pass the rest of the procession. I saw something very special that day. It's called a sheepdog in action. And we know about shepherd and sheep, right? When King David was a boy, he was a true shepherd with sheep to tend to. I believe that I really do believe that he loved to shepherd for many reasons, but I'm convinced it gave him time to think and ponder and sing and talk to the Lord. You know, shepherds spend a lot of time alone with their sheep. And when Jesus was born to Mary and Joseph, shepherds came to worship. You know, they're considered the lowest of the low, but they were the very first ones to learn of the birth of baby Jesus. What an honor to be invited to that celebration. And then Jesus grew up to be the shepherd, and we are the flock. Did you know that most shepherds have sheepdogs? The sheepdogs always had a really important job, and that was to guard the sheep, especially after dark. The sheepdogs were aware of the comings and goings of creatures who were not part of the flock. God gave those sheepdogs a keen sense of smell and sight. At night, the sheepdogs walked the perimeter around the sleeping sheep. They howled and they growled to warn off any unseen predators. always willing to step out into the danger zone, which is the area between the sheep and the enemy, to protect the flock. They were always ready. They stood ready and they were willing to fight to the death to protect the herd. I love that God created creatures that are dedicated to the protection of sheep. I love that in his mighty wisdom, he knew that the sheep needed protection. And he hardwired creatures to step into that danger zone between the attacker and the flock. I also know that there is a group of humans that are called sheepdogs. Hang on, it's not disrespectful, I promise. Quite the opposite. In fact, it is with great respect and honor that I bring it up. So let me explain. There are men and women who are hardwired to protect the flock. That's us, the people. Like the guy in the funeral procession, with no fanfare and no anger, with respect, he moved out of his lane into the center and kept the oblivious driver from disrespecting the family of the deceased friend. I thanked him when I met him at the graveside service. He was really surprised that I had noticed, by the way. You may know a sheepdog. I live with one. They keep their eyes open for danger all the time. I mean, all the time. They are ready to protect others with their lives if needed. They might bark, like speak sternly, at the enemy. They might howl or yell when someone is in danger. But generally, they speak softly to diffuse situations, and they sense when something is going down. As they exit a store and notice a guy going in that's agitated, speaking loudly to himself, and has a very bulky pocket, they turn right around and follow that guy right back into the store. And they keep an eye on him as the store management deploys risk strategies. Sheepdogs, while not on duty, will wait in the wings as backup until the police arrive, who are the sheepdogs in charge. And they'll wait until the police are in control of the situation. By the way, that is a true story. It happened the Saturday before I wrote this. My sheepdog told me about it. Sheepdogs serve. That's the main thing, y'all. They serve. Think of our military and our law enforcement and first responders. Older sheepdogs serve too. Maybe in smaller roles, like maybe on the safety team at church. But these sheepdogs service all of us. They serve all of us. They live to protect us. They die to protect us. So I urge you today in joining me to ask blessings and comfort for the sheepdogs that live around us and live with us and take care of us. Pray that all the sheepdogs, whether they are in the military now or they have been in the military, who are in law enforcement, who are first responders of any kind in the medical world, and, caretakers, all of them. Please ask that the Lord bless them. Please ask that the Lord blesses this nation. Please pray that we have our freedoms restored because we've seen it slipping away. And I urge you to keep an eye out for the sheepdogs who protect us every day. And if you see one, thank them for protecting us. John 15:13 says, "Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends." That's so precious, isn't it? Amen. That's right. Hey, Mike Pitts, I see you there. I hope you're well. I want to thank all of you for being here. I love you, and we will talk to y'all soon. Have a good weekend, or week and good weekend. Bye, y'all.